A false flag is an emergency that's created, a problem that's created, that everyone would naturally say, well, the solution is this. And everyone would want the solution. But the solution is the original plan. In the United States, people gave up a lot of their freedoms. Gave up a lot of their freedoms. When? After 9/11. Well, if terrorists can get into our country that quickly and tear down buildings, we need a massive infrastructure of security. So now willingly people give up their freedoms. So more important to me than speaking about, and I don't know if we're going to have a Q&A session, are we? We should have a Q&A. It'd be good to have a Q&A session because we're just given the method. Sheikh Asrar will give his, and then we'll get more from the feedback of the people. Is to keep in mind this false flag methodology of Iblis. And realize, when people say, oh, this is a conspiracy and this is crazy, yeah, it's not the human beings. Most humans are not that smart. And if people informed you about the batini element of Satanists, you wouldn't even believe it in the first place. I'm sure Sheikh Asrar has some knowledge of these things. But if you were to be informed of some of the stories we can tell you, not facts, but transmissions about the nature of the awliya al-shaytan, you wouldn't believe it in the first place. That's how insane some of these stories are about truly who is pulling the strings of the humans. They're highly connected to shaitan. But summary of what my message is the methodology. Is that Iblis never comes with one evil. He comes to you with an evil. The solution to that evil is his actual. And why is it that the case? Because humans ask for it. When a bad thing happens, we're not happy. But when we ask for a solution, we absorb it to ourselves. Right? We ask for it. We want it as a human population on the earth. We want nice things. We want newer things. We want to be more connected to each other. We want these things. When you ask for it, so he makes you ask for it. He brings you in a situation and he makes you ask for it. And once we as people, as a population, ask for that evil, it settles within us. And now we're stuck with it. Okay. We're now stuck. Let me tell you a story about Egypt, and this is very politically incorrect for Egyptians. But I'll give you an example of what happened with Morsi when he was president. The military would go out, play with the electricity. You wouldn't have electricity for a couple hours. Maybe what prices would go up. They hack up and ruin everything for him. Until the people themselves call for change. But once the change comes, now you're stuck with it. You asked for it. وَأُشْرِبُوا فِي قُلُوبِهِمُ الْعِجْلِ. You wanted it, you asked for it. This is the nature of how modernity has always been working. Iblis brings you an emergency, you ask for a solution, naturally, that solution was his original plan. You fell straight for it. You fell for it. SubhanAllah. Women get mistreated all the time. But the response is end the hierarchy. Wait a second, no one's in charge anymore? End it all. Any hierarchy, any authority is evil. That becomes the solution. That's worse than the world that we were in before. So that's the general motif or methodology or usul by which Iblis is bringing about ultimately what it is Allah's will for him to bring about, for a wisdom that Allah has. And let me close on an optimistic point. Because of the greatness of the Prophet ﷺ, it must be displayed, demonstrated. We know of the Prophet's greatness, but the Prophet's greatness was not the greatness in the splendor of his ummah only. It's the greatness of what he can bear. Allah is attribute of quwwah and matana. What's the difference between qawi and mateen? Qawi, strong in dafa, in pushing. Mateen, strong in receiving blows. That's the definition. So mateen, when I take a sword, the muhannad sword used to be metal, gold, metal, gold, metal. The metal is what strikes, but the gold is what receives the blow. It receives the punch. Okay. Matana. So the deen of Allah is mateen. The deen of Islam is mateen. The greatness of Islam will be shown not by what it did in the first 1,000 years, but what it absorbed in the second 500 years. Think about this.